Initiating moisture.
Welcome to the Moist Meter. Today we're taking a look at Biomutant. Before getting into it, yes, I know this game was made by a small team. I don't know how small the team is. Every time I looked at chat, the number would change. 20 people made this game, Charlie. No, actually 15 made this game. No, really, the team was actually composed of 6 people, and 2 of them are in high school. It doesn't really matter. I understand it wasn't a huge studio that put this together, but the game is selling for $60, which means it's being sold at a AAA price, so I'm going to review it as a AAA game. Under no circumstances is it worth $60 at all. The state of this game is fucking rough. Think Cyberpunk, but with furries. It is very, very, very unfinished. Half of the shit in this game is missing sound effects. It's like I was playing in a sensory deprivation tank. You'd go into combat, you'd be throwing around attacks, and there's no impact to them. You wouldn't even know if attacks were registering or what the fuck was going on because there's no sound effect, and there's absolutely no sense of impact or weight to anything. Meleeing an enemy in this game is like swinging your arms in the air. It doesn't ever feel like you're actually hitting anything at all. And let me just go ahead and say this. I think the team is extremely talented. I think the actual talent behind this team is there. It's just this is their first game together, and they've missed the mark. They were a little too ambitious, and they didn't execute properly on pretty much anything they aimed to do. There are a few good things about the game that I want to just get out there right now. I love the style. I think the art direction and the universe looks incredible. I love the world. I love the way it all looks, and it just fucking looks beautiful. Visually. I like the character design, and I like a lot of the things they have here for like the abilities, for mutations and shit like that. They're cool, albeit totally useless. Like you'll have a flame dash attack that you will almost never get any damage out of, but it looks cool. So there are cool things there, even though they don't really do much to help you in combat, but they are nice, they're flashy. And that's really where all the compliments end. Narratively, this is a complete disaster. The writing is some of the worst I've seen. It's up there with Kingdom Hearts 3. Typically in a game like this, I'd expect the narrative and the lore to be pretty spectacular, especially one that was in development for this long. But it is nonsensical and downright embarrassing to listen to. Half of the shit in this game sounds like it was named by Discord employees. We're going to Baldydorf. We gotta get some skids. Oh, watch out for the whips and the bloops. Oh my goodness. You're being a real bonker donker. Like, oh, you gotta go see Gulp on Sinky Dink. That's a real thing. Like, those are actual things in this universe. And you'll fight a Tunkeldus. Like, it's really goofy shit. They call elevators uppy downies. That sounds like fucking Australian slang, like brekkie and all that shit. It's, aside from just like the childishly silly shit that sounds like it was named by Wumpus from Discord, the writing is just downright trash. The lore, the narrative, absolutely nonsensical, and every NPC you talk to says the exact same thing every single time. Every NPC somehow says the exact same lines, just changed a little bit. For example, you'll meet a guy named Choo Choo, and his thing is he likes trains. So he'll be like, oh, I remember you when you were a kidling. Life is a lot like train tracks, you know. Sometimes you'll go on the right track and it'll take you where you want to go. Do you know where you want to go? And you'll talk to the next guy who likes to surf. Oh, I love goo. I love to goo and ride the goo waves. And sometimes you have to get on that goo wave to take you to where you want to go. Every single piece of dialogue is copy and pasted. None of the characters have any depth or anything interesting about them. They just look nice. They all repeat the same shit. And above all else, the worst part of everything narratively is the narrator. He doesn't shut the fuck up. Every single thing in this game has the narrator come in to add nothing to it. You'll open a door. Oh, it seems you've entered a room. I wonder what this room was used for. Perhaps we should look around and find what this room was for. Ah, I see you found a rope. Perhaps you should climb that rope. Everything is the narrator. Ah, Charlie is getting a little rumbling in his tummy. Perhaps he's got to take a shit. We'll have to wait until after the moist meter to see if he does so. It is obnoxious. So much so that the game developers had to become aware of it at some point. Like the playtesters were like, this is too much. Because there's a feature in here to make the narrator stop talking as much. If you have to add a feature where your narrator shuts up, you've gone a little far. There's only 3 voice actors in this whole game, and 2 of them are for characters you almost never see, and when you do see them, they're actually copy and pasted lines. There's no difference between them. They don't even change from like railroad tracks to fucking waves in the ocean or anything. They actually just say the exact same lines ad nauseum. So those 2 only had like 5 lines total. The rest is the narrator, and everything else just makes Banjo-Kazooie sounds, and then the narrator translate. My bloopish is a little rusty, but I believe he's saying, thank you, and it's good to see you again. He remembers you had a good heart and were a good boy, and it looks like you haven't lost that spark. And he says that for every single NPC you meet says the same thing. I remember you as a kidling. You had a good heart, and it seems like you still have a good heart, and you're a good boy. It's good to see that. You haven't lost that spark, that light. And the narrator, of course, is the one saying all that and translating. It's awful. I really hate being this harsh, but it is a $60 game. If this game was at $30, I would feel a lot more comfortable recommending this to somebody or being a little less intense on it, but this is going for $60. So I believe at a premium price like that, I really shouldn't be pulling punches and giving you my honest opinion and impressions of the game. The world is completely barren. The most empty open world I've ever seen. Somehow this makes Ubisoft fucking open world games look alive and well and flourishing. This game has nothing. Going from point A to point B is just pure tedium. Sometimes you'll encounter a few enemies along the way, and by the way, every enemy has the same attack. There's only 2 different attack patterns that normal enemies have, and that's it. Everything else is just the exact same. You'll fight a Flumpus, and it'll have the same attack patterns as a Tunkeldus. They don't change. The appearance of the monster changes a little bit, not even much, but a little bit, but their attacks are exactly the same. It's crazy. There's not even any variance to the attacks. And the boss battles all play out almost exactly the same. So, again, I'm getting sidetracked. But the world is empty. Sometimes you'll have those little fights. Sometimes you'll see NPCs in the world. And if you talk to the NPC, if you make the mistake of talking to one, all they do is say, oh, I remember you as a kidling. You were a good boy. You seem to still be a good boy. And then your only option is just say goodbye. So you just go up to someone just to say goodbye. There is no life to the world. It's beautiful to be in, but it sucks ass to traverse, and there is nothing to do in it aside from doing the quests. And some of the side quests genuinely just don't even work. Some of the side quests just straight up don't function. And the main quests are mainly fetch quests. Almost every single main quest is go here, collect 5 of these 5 of these gups, 3 of these pyro sticks, and bring them back, and I'll make your submarine shoot infinite ammo. Go over here, collect 5 of these squeebs, and I'll make your mech shoot infinite ammo. That's mainly all of the quest lines, and then you go fight a boss. It's horrible. The quests aren't fun. Nothing makes sense, so it's not like the narrative is being pushed forward or you're learning anything new, because all of the NPCs have memory loss, it seems, so they'll just keep telling you the same shit over and over and over again. It's like every single NPC in this game is just a clone of each other with a different skin suit on. In a single instance of talking to an NPC, he will repeat your objective 20 times. And not even in different ways. He'll be like, okay, you need to go here because of a world eater. In fact, I think you actually need to go here because of a world eater. Alright, now that we've finished all of this up and you have a good heart and you're very light on the light side, which is, it's very good to be shining so bright as the sun, I think you should go over here to fight the World Eater. All in like one dialogue instance. It's wild. It's like at no point did they ever even try with the writing. It's the genuine bare minimum. It's so dumb. Fuck, narratively it's dumb. But let's get to like the actual combat and the RPG elements. There is like level ups that'll give you stats. You can put plus 10 to strength when you level up, and you can get some mutations. And like I said, some of them are very cool and flashy. But at no point does it ever feel like it changes anything. I put all of my stats into strength, and my melee did less damage than my guns, which had absolutely no benefits to them. I didn't put anything into guns or making those more powerful. Everything went into my strength for melee attacks and critting, and that was my weakest part. By far. It feels like stats don't do anything except for health, which just gives you more health. Everything else seems so underwhelming, as if nothing changed. From the time you start up the game to the time you end it, you don't feel like you ever got stronger. You just got more useless shit that you can use, such as spitting acid on the ground that nobody ever stands in long enough to get poisoned. At the very least, though, the combat is flashy. You can slide around shooting and switching weapons and doing some combos, and there are some flashy things to be done there. But it doesn't feel good because the combat doesn't feel good. Everything's so floaty and, again, lacks impact. It's like every single attack you do just goes straight through them like you're fighting ghosts. It's not like there's even physical beings in the game. It's all like a spiritual journey. It's wildly unfinished in the worst possible ways. It took me 8 hours, just over 8 hours, to complete the game start to finish, doing only mainline quests and a couple of side quests early. So it's not like there's a lot of meat to go through if you're just doing main quests, and the side quests I did accomplish sucked. It was you pass through a small village and you kill 5 people, bang, you're done. And that's another thing. The world scale, like the world is big. Like there's a lot to this world in terms of size. But when you actually go through it, it's mainly just grass. If you do encounter a village, it's 4 houses. 4 small houses makes up a village. And a village in particular that keeps pumping into my mind is Blumbidorf, however you say it. It's a village of 4 buildings and 4 people. That's it. So it's just, there's nothing to do except just doing the main quests or just trudging through these boring side quests. And most of it, of course, being fetch quests. It made me very disappointed. I didn't know much about this game going into it, but I left extremely disappointed because I know how many people were looking forward to it. They followed the development for years and were extremely excited. And to see that the state that it's in and the price tag that it has is just gotta be extremely sad for the people that have pre-ordered it and stuff. Because I do believe the team wanted to deliver something special. The passion is undoubtable. They seemed extremely excited about their world and their lore that they spend the first hour and a half doing nothing but telling you it. A literal exposition diarrhea dump. They just drop the entire world's lore on you, and they just seem to really love it. And that's great, but the pacing sucks. They just dump thousands of lines of lore on you in the very beginning of the game, and that really sets the tone for the rest of it. After an hour of the game, you've pretty much experienced everything. Every enemy fights the same. Every fight goes the same. All the main quests are the same. Fetch these things and then come back. It's just sad. It's really a lot of wasted potential, which I know a lot of people are talking about, but it's true. It's in a bad state right now, and the final product is under no circumstances worth your $60. Plugging Biomutant to the moist meter, I'm giving Biomutant a 30%. Unfortunate because the team, again, I do believe wanted to do something special, but they've missed the mark here. I do believe the team is going to deliver great games in the future. They're clearly a very talented group. This one just wasn't on the mark at all. And yeah, that's really about it. So yeah.